Hello again. So today I thought I would redo these two bowls. Um, they're they're just looking rough. There's so many more things that I really should be doing today, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do these first because I walk by them all the time and I look at them and they're just looking really ratty. So first thing I'm going to do is pull all the plants out and see what I want to put back. And then I'm going to go and scavenge a bunch of plants from the garden because I have a ton of overgrown stuff and fluff these up and make them look nice again. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I just went and I grabbed my, my big container thing here. So just to have a place to put the plants. So let's start by getting all of the plants out of here. And I had my nippers. Here they are. Okay, so I got plenty of tools. So I think I'm going to start by just kind of digging out. This is my new weed tool that I got. I think I showed it to you in a video from before. But I'm going to pull all these out. It should come out pretty easy. I did water everything yesterday, so hopefully everything will be nice and plump because I'm not going to want to water anything for a while. Because you kind of don't want to do that. Pull this Echeveria Sahara out. Let me get all these out of here first. I should be able to. So this is the cotyledon mint truffle. That's what these are. And I will put these back in here. Any that still look good. I'm just gonna probably cut them and then put them back in. Everything as cuttings. And so it's good that I watered them yesterday because everything will be, happy. I have my dog groomer here today. She has a mobile business where she drives around. Here, I'll give you a quick peek at her. That's her van there. Nicole's Mobile Pet Grooming. The dogs love her. So if your animals like somebody, then, that's a good person. But they get so excited when she pulls up. And Spud's with me right now. He's standing there behind me. But Primer sits in the van. She's working on Raider first. And then Primer's just sitting in there on a little shelf that she has in there. And he just hangs out while she's doing her thing because he loves her so much. Okay, so we'll get all of these out of there. And a lot of these are just so small and scraggly, but what I can do is I can just cut them and then stick them in the little gaps when I'm done. Fill them all in. And what I'm going to do when I'm done is I'm going to put some shade screen. It's supposed to be, this is not a good day to be doing this, but I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway because I can't look at these anymore. And I'm sure they'll be okay, but it's going to be 92 today, so that's a little bit warm. This aloe, it's got all these pups here. Aloes have a really huge, big, strong root system. I want to be careful. I don't want to push this against the edge of the bowl and crack my bowl trying to get leverage. This aloe blue elf here is this whole thing wants to come out. I think these roots are growing all over in there. I should just get down under there and start cutting those roots. And that way it'll just pull out a little easier. And then, because I want to save as much of this soil as I can. So it's got, this blue elf really spreads. So it's a great plant to have in your garden but look at the roots. When did I last redo these? I think it was in the fall. But, you can't go wrong with this aloe blue elf. And then, this is the aloe distans. And it doesn't have as much roots, but what it does have over on the side, which I am loving, it's very stressed. That's why it's not very green. But it'll green back up because I'm going to cover it with shade. But look at, oh gosh, look at these roots. Look at this. It's crazy. But look at the little pups over here. It's got 1, 2, 3 nice little pups. I'm going to clean those up and probably put those back in here. And then this blue elf has all kinds of little pups starting around the edge of it. And I really want this whole thing out of here. Let me pull these little pups off here. There's 1, 2, 3 that should have their own roots by now. Oh, these two feel like they're still connected. But look at, I mean, that's a nice little plant. That would grow. If I don't know if I'll save those. But if I did, if I put it somewhere and protected it, it would grow. Okay. The soil is pretty dry considering I really soaked it yesterday. And the water just runs through, right through this bowl. I have nice gritty soil. But what I need to start doing now that the weather is really changing and everything is dry is I need to water more often, because I have not been really watering anything at all. Okay. But yeah, there we go. So I can just clean this up, and this is, I'm going to cut it, I think, and it's going to go right back in there. And you're going to see the difference between this, of that mauve color, and how that one is so green. Look at the color difference. Just because they're a couple feet apart, and that green one gets shade a lot earlier than this one does. And so here, what I want to do is just pick all of the roots and everything out of here. Now my dentist is retired, and so there's really no reason for me to still be driving all the way downtown, because I only went to him for so long because I really liked him, and he's gone. But I do like my hygienist, is that what they call him, who cleans my teeth? I like her a lot. She's great. She's been there for a long time. And that's the only reason why I haven't found a closer place. But, yeah, anyway. Okay, let's get a bunch of these little guys out of there. So these are all the sedum. I think these are called, like, Firestorm or something. I forget. There's so many varieties. It's hard to remember exactly which ones they are. But I pretty much have the same thing in both of these pots because I kind of like them to match. But this one will have more stuff in it because it was more in the shade, so all these little tiny succulents that are hidden down here in the bottom, there's still a few of them are hanging on. So I have a little tiny look at that. That is what do you call this one? We all know what this one is. It's a very common one. Actually, there's another one right there. It's I'm blanking. I'll think about it. Okay, another aloe distans, and this one has one pup, it looks like. These aloe distans, they're very pokey. You know, not as bad as a cactus, but, or an agave, but still. You want to come out? I feel like you want to come out. Oh. Okay. God, what is this one called? It's a very common one. Actually, this is different. This is not the same one. That looks like an Echeveria something, who knows what. This one I'll have to be really careful with, or all these leaves are just going to fall off of it because they come off really easy on some of these plants. There we go. So some of these I might keep. This one has mealybugs. Can you see on there? little white. I got a little umbrella for my phone here. It doesn't want to stand up straight though. I mean, I only paid $6 for it, so I guess you get what you pay for. It's just a little umbrella. So you clip it onto your phone with this little, and it's bendy, so you can turn it. But it doesn't, the phone thing is swiveling, and I can't get it to stop. Hold on one second. Okay, I think I got it situated. So hopefully that'll stay there. I don't remember what I was saying before I got so easily distracted. Oh, there's a bee. Hi, little bee. No flowers here, baby. Okay, get all these out of there. Put them in my pot. Oh, I was trying to show you the mealybugs on that one. I don't know where I put it. I must have thrown it in here. This one's dead. It'll go in the pile. So this Echeveria Sahara started out, like about that big, and now it's that big. So I'm gonna pull it out, clean it up, and see if I can't get it to get happy again if I put a shade cloth over it during that hot part of the day. And then in the afternoon, and I can just pull all these off, clean it up. That's really satisfying when you get all these dead leaves out of there. I love the crunchy sound. So clean all these up. I don't see any mealybugs in here. Yeah, this looks good. I don't really see anything. So I'll probably keep the roots on this one because I want it to get its color back, and I really want it to take off again. And here's the other one. This is from the first pot. And again, what is that on there? No, I don't see any mealybugs on this one either. Oh, look at the little tiny baby it's got sticking out right there. It's got roots coming off the side. Oh, it has a spider here. We're gonna get rid of him. Sorry, dude. I don't see him anywhere, but there was a little spider in there. So, yeah, we'll see if we can't get these to take off. These were two of my original Echeveria Saharas that I bought a couple years ago. And I got them down in Southern California at Waterwise Botanicals. So this is an aloe. I'm not sure what kind it is, but we'll probably put this one back because I like it. And we'll get all these dead leaves off of it first. Really clean it up. And I'll probably trim those roots, but not cut them completely off. Okay. And you can see again, this one is just filled with roots. So here's a nice little Echeveria in here. Is this an agavoides? This kind of feels like an Echeveria agavoides. This big one, and then all these little, those almost look like Mexican snowball, the Echeveria elegans, if that's what that is. Okay. So on this side, let's get all of this crassula mint truffles out of here. And this really grows, and it seems, oh, there's some little tiny Echeverias down in here. They must have been down in the shade because they're still looking, they look cute. Look at, how cute is that? Little baby plants. So there's a few of them down under the side back here. And we will get them all out of here. Oh, there's a little bitty topsy-turvy. Actually, you know what? I remember putting that in here. It was a lot bigger at the time. But, yeah, look at that. Cute. I need to get out of the sun. It's sunny today, so it's 9:15. Tuesday. I think it's like the 16th. Or the 17th, and it says that it's 66 degrees out here. It feels a lot warmer because I'm standing in the full sun. I get this morning sun here in the front of the garage, and there's no breeze today, at least not down here. The trees are moving a little bit up high, but barely. So for me, it's just hot. But if I get this done early, that'll be one good project and I'll be happy. So now I want to get this aloe distans out of here, and I see it has a ton of roots. Oh goodness, get all that out of there. I'm trying to save as much of this soil in the bowl as I can. There. God, look at this. This is crazy. It just winds around the bowl. So I'll cut all that off. I might leave that baby attached to it. Don't want to squish anything. Let's put you there. And now, the biggest one with all the roots. And this one's got two decent pups here. Yeah. This one's still attached to the trunk. This one, it feels like, oh, there's a little bitty tiny one there. Oh, and another one there. So it's got 4 pups off of it. But I think I'll leave the small ones attached and just let them grow and fill in. And then I'll just take this one larger one off. What was that? Look at all these roots. It's crazy. I mean, they're pulling out really easy. If I had something under this to catch all this soil, I would just pull all this out and just let it, let the dirt just go where it wants and then just scoop it back up. But I'm trying not to make too much of a mess. That is crazy. Look at those roots. Compared to everything else that's grown in there that hardly has any roots. So we're going to lay that over there, and then we're going to try to clean some of these out of here again. So now we have to make the decision of what we're going to put back in. And I want to put the blue elf, the aloe blue elf back in. So we're going to take this and we're going to take my nippers here. Whoa. And I'm just going to cut off all these roots. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing. It doesn't need all these roots. And that way it'll slow it down, it's growing. And I'll actually be able to get in here. So you can see these little nubs. These are new little pups coming in. Get off of there. So I want to trim some more of these. Oops, didn't mean to slice that open. These are sharp. These are actually hair cutting shears. I don't even know where I got them. But they're super sharp. So we're going to cut some of these tips off, which it looks like I did. I think I did that yesterday. I think I went and just started snipping away, trying to clean this up a little. But then I decided, you know what? I just want to redo this pot. It's just looking rough. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, a little nub fell off, so this would have been a little pup. I knocked it off. Knocked it off right there, but that's okay. I don't need it. We don't need that much, so we're going to put this right in the middle. I want to get it way down in here. I'm going to pack it in. I want it to stand up straight. And now I think what I'm going to put in next is, you know what, I need more soil. Let's get this stuff out of here. I have a bag of soil. What did I do with it? Oh, over here. Okay, I think I'm going to put most of the stuff back in as cuttings. So I can add some more soil to this. And this is the cactus and succulent soil from Evie Stone that I use all the time. Probably put quite a bit in there. I'm always afraid to push down too hard on this table. I feel like I'm going to collapse the table. Okay. So I want to put these Echeveria, Saharas back in here. So first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all the dirt out of here, because I want to leave the roots on these. And I want to put it as close up to the base here as I can. And I want it all the way down into there. Get in there. Cover those roots up. There we go. I want it right up against there. Okay. Now we get to decide. Oh, you know what? Let's put the aloe distans back in here. Okay, which one we're going to take? We're going to take this one, and we're going to trim all that off. And I think I'm going to just leave that pup sticking on there, because why not? If I don't, oops, there's another little one hanging off of there. Let's cut all this off. Don't cut my fingers. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. It's kind of hard. Don't have a lot of space here. These old leaves do not like to just break off like they do on some plants. You really have to cut them on some of them. So spiders, I don't see any mealybugs on here either. Ouch. Get that whole ring off. There we go. Okay. I think I can even cut a little more roots. Don't cut your fingers. Okay, so that can go right here. I want to get it deep enough so it doesn't fall over, and I want it right up against the base again of this plant. Ouch. If I can. There we go. Ow. Ow. Can be sharp when you go straight in to the, the little sharp point. You go your hand straight. Oh, look at that. That's how sharp these things are. I stabbed myself there too. Okay. It's actually good like that. Normally I would plant these straight up, but I want to fill in with soft succulents around the edge. Okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to cut some stuff out of the garden. I'll be right back. Okay, so I did get this big Fred Ives here. So I'm going to stick this in there. And how am I going to get it? Oh, excuse me. Spud's his turn for getting a for getting his bath. So I kind of want to put this up against, and I can just stuff it right down in there. And I'm going to put underneath here, what am I going to put? I want it up a little bit, but I want it back there. Or maybe I should just leave it, whoa, should I just leave it like that? I could just mound some more dirt up under there to kind of hold it up. You really don't want it sitting directly on the soil, because you don't want rot to set in. I found over in another pot, which needs to be completely redone, this nice sempervivum. And let me clean all these leaves off. Ugh, what a mess. Yeah, I kind of butchered it cutting it out. And it's got some mealybugs, so I'm going to go get some alcohol. I'm going to cut it again, because I didn't do a very good job of cutting. Actually, I'm just going to cut the stem almost all the way off. Do I see? I don't see any mealybugs at the top, but I'll be right back. I'm going to just go get my little alcohol bottle, and I'm going to spray this real quick before I stick it in there. But This is what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? It's kind of closed up because it's been in the heat of the sun, but it'll open back up when it gets watered and in the shade. A little bit. Okay, I don't know what's going on with my camera, but I don't think it recorded all, I mean, I put this Fred Ives here. I just put this one here. I trimmed off all the leaves, the flower stalks. I got all the ghosties, the cotyledon. I don't think it recorded any of that. All of a sudden it shut off, which it only does is if it's on paused. And I know I hit the pause button, but I cut these flower stalks off. They were almost done. Got it tucked under there. I've got, I don't know if you saw this, the Sempervivum. I got that tucked in there. A little row of ghosties. I'm going to put some smaller ones right here. Actually, you know what I'm going to put there? I'm going to put these little, I don't know if these are chrome or which ones these are, but I'm going to try and stick them right in the soil along the edge here. And then they'll root themselves in. Just make sure there's no mealybugs on them. I'm so irritated. I mean, that was probably 20 minutes of filming that didn't film for some reason. These are going to look actually really cute along there. I need to save enough for the other pot too, because I'm sure it'll have an edge. And they barely need to touch the soil, and they'll start sprouting roots. These are just, succulents are amazing. Check each one. Okay, and this one can go down in here. Get under there. There. Cute. Okay, I need something for right here. What do we have over here? We've got, I have this aloe. Maybe I'll put that right there. I don't have a matching one for the other pot. That's all right. Let's cut off. A lot of these roots are not even like this. That's just, there's nothing there. That's just rotten. So it's got like a few good roots, but it seems like that's all it needs. So I'm going to put it over here though. And I'm just basically going to pretty much set it right there in the soil. It doesn't even have to be buried. It's got enough of a little root that it'll grow into there and fill in that spot. Okay, so I need something kind of small across here. What are we going to put there? You know what? I have some Echeveria Lovely Rose, but they're doing really good, and I think I want to put them all together in one pot and keep them protected, because let me show you how they look. Now, mind you, they're still in the little 2-inch pots that I bought them in, but some of them are, I mean, look how big these are. This is the biggest they've ever gotten. Some of them are kind of withering. They need to be, but a lot of them, look at this. They just, the stem, can you see this here? The stem just rots, and I can cut it off because the plant's still alive, but I'll cut that off, and I'll probably do that today. It's not going to work there, though. So, what do I have? You know what? I've got some, how much space do I have? I got a spot here. Okay, so I've got this spot which could probably take 2 plants. I'm gonna go find 2 plants. Okay, so I forgot I had a big clump of this. This is a sedum, like Firestorm or something like that, and so these will give it some nice color around here. So what I'll do is take off a bunch of the bottom leaves and just start poking them carefully. I need 2 more leaves off of there. Carefully down in there. You know, I think that stem is too long. There we go, that's better. All right, we'll take some of the shorter ones. Oh, spiders. Is that, no, you know, those I believe are just a big clump of mealybug. Can you see that? Look at that. That's what, yeah, those are, I'm gonna pick this stuff out of there. Now this stuff is prone to mealybugs. I find them a lot on here. for some reason. But I'm gonna spray it really good. I better just hit that one too. I didn't see any on that one, but whoa. Pick that up. Okay, so stick this one in there. Actually, we could probably stick that one under here. Back in there. These are a little tougher. The leaves don't break off as easily as they do on some plants. Actually, take all these top ones off and then just cut this bottom half of the stem off. That one off too. And then put that one right in the front here. Kind of want it clumpy, you know. I want it to fill in the space. And I've got a lot more of this for the other bowl too. That really needs to be thinned out because it's growing next to my big tub of flowers, and it's growing all over a rock and just covering my rock. So I really needed to thin it out. So this is perfect to steal them for here. One more in here. Kind of need one more after this, huh? We want two. I don't have, you're supposed to put a spiller. I don't have anything right now to spill over the edge, unfortunately. Whoa, get in there. Do you want to go in there? It doesn't really want to go in there. Hold on. Here. It's probably too long. Where's my little tool? I don't have my little tool that I can use to kind of wiggle the soil around while I'm pushing down on here. There we go. Okay. Now I only have this area under this Fred Ives. And you know what I'm going to put under there? I'm going to go steal some sempervivums out of a bowl. I'll be right back. Okay, so I did just go and I brought this whole bowl because it's so hot over there that they're all closed up. And these are super hardy through the winter. What color is that? I want a red one. And I never water them, so they're just looking really bad, but I think they'll do better over here because they'll get shade in the afternoon, where these are pretty much in full sun all day. 1, 2, 3. Let me get one more. How about this big one? Can you come out of there? That one's pretty tight. I got one that looks like this. Oh, that's all right. These come out pretty easy. So, can you see where this is the Fred? Let me turn this a little more, huh? All right, now you can see. So I'm just gonna leave the roots on them, and I'm just gonna stuff them down in there, like so. Well, this one I got to pull some of this. So these roots were growing right along the edge of the bowl. This is all roots on here, but we don't want all that on there. So we're gonna just move some of that soil out of the way, and these will help to hold this Fred Ives up too. But they'll root themselves. They'll dig down in there. Ow, they're sharp when they're dry. These aren't particularly pokey. Sempervivums are usually pretty soft, but these are dry. They're really, really dry. So I'm gonna put this one on this end. No, I'm not. I'm gonna put it right next to this one. And it's just gonna be basically sitting on top of the soil. But once I start watering this, I did water these yesterday. These got a good drink. Not that you can tell, but I can still feel the soil. It's cool. It's not really damp, but it's kind of cool. So I know they got a good drink of water, and they're just they'll root themselves right in there. I can just leave them, add a little bit of soil right in there, and they'll be good. And here comes Nicole, so it looks like my dogs are done. I'll be right back. Okay, well, it is now 4 o'clock, or after 4, quarter after 4. And it's like 93 degrees out here, so it's really hot. But I am in the shade now. You can see the shade is moved back over the house. So I finished the one bowl, and then I got distracted with Nicole, my dog groomer, and we went for a little walk out back. And then Dave and I ran into town, and then we came home and I took a 2-hour nap. But I do have a lot of plants. I found this little, is this like a lace aloe? It's not a Haworthia, I think it's a lace aloe. Some of the stuff I'll put back. I did cut some more cotyledon. I got another Fred Ives, some more ghosties. So we're gonna do this bowl, but let's go over here, because you know, I was sitting in there a minute ago thinking about this little patio area, and you know, it occurred to me that I keep putting off doing the heavy work, which is this area right here. I did pull a bunch of that out, but I got a lot more work because it's not as much fun as just redoing my bowls and pots and stuff. That's why I keep redoing these. But I love how this turned out. The last time I did it, it was just like, it's okay. I can still see a little bit of dirt, and I can pop a few more little things in here to hide these holes if I want to. But I love how this came out. It's fluffy all the way around. It does not have a spiller, but you know, that's okay. I just don't have anything other than Portulacaria that would hang down. But so this one's done, and I am going to keep a shade screens over them. It doesn't need it right now, actually. I can pull that off, but this one, you can see, is still partly in the sun on this side. So this one will need shade screen a lot sooner than this one. But what I was thinking when I was in the house, God, I need to sweep in here again. I'm thinking about this pot, which this is a huge planter. It's probably 2.5 feet tall, I think. And my Sansevieria just tanked in here. There's a couple of pieces left, but you know, it's just, I don't know. I'm going to take it all out. But you know what I was thinking? What if I just pull everything out of here? I do love this Aeonium Sunburst though, and these Fred Ives. These things just get mealybugs like crazy, and I really need to start treating them. But what if I pull everything out of here and put in that Agave Attenuata Ray of Light that I just repotted, if you saw the previous video, and I could put the mother plant sort of in the back and then the 2 pups, and it should grow really good in here. And it gets sun fairly early in this corner, because you can see if I back up without tripping over something, it's 4 o'clock now, but I think by around 1, I think that whole corner's shaded. This side over here gets the sun the longest. So what if I do that? Because it would grow kind of tall, and it's really pretty, and it could probably stay in there for quite a while. And then it'll be easy to throw some frost cloth over it in the wintertime, because I'm right here all the time. So I might do that. I'm going to pull this Navajo Princess Mangave out of here and put it in a pot, and then add some stuff. This I will leave. This is the Brachiotis macrocarpus. I wish it would, it's got one little tiny nub there that it wants to, you know, there's a few. It wants to leaf out. So maybe it will. It's only gotten a couple of leaves and a couple flowers, but it's happy in this spot. It does really good there. And I see the Euphorbia trigona that are in here, excuse me, are still hanging on. There's one on each side. But I'll clean that up, cut off all of these leggy things, and, you know, reset them. I need to redo both of those pots. I'm going to probably steal a couple more plants out of here. This Aluaudia procera is dead. This was my first one. I was very disappointed, and it died. I don't know what happened. I think it just got too cold one winter. I had redone this one not too long ago, and it just got too hot. Oh, and the word I was thinking of earlier, the plant, it was that purple one, Pearl von Nuremberg. I just could not think of the name for some reason. But anyway, look at that Euphorbia millii. That's really happy right now. So let's go back. The flowers are looking amazing. There, I cut the palm fronds off, so they're getting full sun, and they seem to be doing okay. I just have to remember to water them every day. And that's where I keep stealing cotyledon from. So let's go and finish this pot. Okay. So let's set you back up here, and I don't need to put my little umbrella on. Whoops. Because the sun is gone. So Actually, do I want to? I don't need to zoom it in. I can just leave it right about there. So you can kind of see everything. So we're going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to start with the blue elf. And I'm going to cut all of these crazy roots off of it as soon as I find my nippers. Oh, here we go. So let's get rid of all of this. Come on, cut. Scissors. That works. So let's just trim all this off because we don't need this. We don't necessarily want this plant growing super fast. Everybody's going home from work. This is like, our road is like a freeway through here. Just trim this way back. And this plant is going to come right back. It's crazy how fast it grows. So I want to... Actually, they're kind of pulling off. All this dead stuff needs to come out of here so that it looks nice again. This one is so much taller, I think. And this is the greener one. So this one was not as stressed as the one I put in the other bowl that was like a mauve color, which I don't like. Can you hear my doves? They're up on the telephone pole talking. This whole leaf needs, oh, look down in there. See that? Mealy bugs. So I'm going to cut this whole leaf off. And I'm going to spray this with alcohol. I don't typically get mealy bugs in the aloes. I usually see them in like a lot of the softer succulents. But yeah, they are just infesting this thing. But that's okay. We're going to clean it out. What is this down in here? Is that a spider in there? Whew. All kinds of stuff in here. Get all this junk out of there. Okay, there's a couple of old bloom from the old blooms that were still in there. Because you can't get down there too close to cut them out. So sometimes you get the stem is left in there for a long time. Okay, so that is all. Let's pull that one off. Clean all this off. I'm thinking maybe I should cut the bottom of this off. Because it's going to stick up pretty high. This would have to go all the way. I'm going to cut this bottom off. Yeah. Where's my good nippers? We don't need all that. It's just going to make it too tall. And then I can use those and, trim those off and use them in a smaller bowl because they will grow. And they'll come back and they'll be happy. And I started with 2 containers of this aloe blue elf. 2, probably 1 gallon containers if I remember correctly. And I have tons of it now to choose from to add to other areas. It's just growing and it's happy and it spreads. I have an issue with blue jays. Did I mention that? I'm an animal lover. I love birds. I love wild birds. I like to feed them. These blue jays know exactly where my chickens lay eggs. My chickens are free range, as you know. And they just lay their eggs wherever. So some of the spots where they typically lay their eggs, those blue jays know. And it's like every day they go and they peck holes in the eggs and they eat, excuse me, they eat the yolk. Not all of it, but enough of it that the eggs are useless. And it just makes me so mad. All the junk out of the middle here. Leaves from the boxwoods that were there that are now gone. Okay, so we're going to stick... Got a frog in my throat. We're going to stick these cotyledon mint truffles in here, just like we did with the other one. Kind of stick them around on this side. Got 4 of them. Not great big ones, but just 4. Okay, so now I buried my poor little Fred Ives here in roots and whatnot. So the Fred Ives, I am going to spray this one because my Fred Ives, I've noticed, do tend to get a lot of mealybugs. So I don't see any on this one, but some of the other ones I have a lot of mealybugs. So we're going to put this, dig a little hole and stick it right up against here on this side. So these plants will be, these bowls will be the same, but not. I'm not, because I put the other one over there, so I can't really see exactly where I put everything. So they won't be all in the same spot. Stepping on crunchy stuff. Okay, so now this little Echeveria Sahara here with the pup. I'm going to plant it whole with its pup. I don't see any mealybugs in there, but let's give it a little spray just in case. I'm going to put that one over here. I want to leave the roots on, so I need a decent sized little pocket for it here, because I want it somewhat deep in here. Get all those roots, because I didn't cut the roots off of here, so we want all those down in there. And we're gonna just push the soil back around it and up under in there. And as it re-roots, or as the roots grow, and remember, I feel like I said all this in a previous video, but it was actually just earlier in the same video, so for you it'll just be a few minutes. But remember, I did just water those. This should all be good. Okay. Now I have this aloe distans, which has a poor little echeveria impaled on one of its leaves. Ouch. So sharp. Okay, I'm going to get you out of here. Okay, these all roots go on this plant. Okay, so let's knock some of this dirt off so we can see what we got. And I'm going to clean all these dead leaves off of it. That is one nice thing. When you redo a pot, it gives you the chance to really look at all the plants, to clean them up, to get the dead leaves that you can't always get to when the plant is planted, without really tearing it up. Get all these out of there. Ouch, that's a sharp one. I'd like to get more off of the trunk of this, but it's kind of difficult. My goal is to have all these pots redone by the end of this week. And I might, I can't do that. I don't have any money right now because I just ordered a block of hay. And it'll be here tomorrow. And it will be actually the cheapest it's been in a few years. It was only going to be $1,500 for this block. So it's $17 a bale. We get 88 bales. And that really puts a damper on my checking account. I do get to write that off, but the plant stuff, not a write-off. As much as I'm like, but my tax guy's like, no, you can't write that off. That's a hobby. If you didn't have the animals in the rescue, you'd still be doing plants, so no, you can't write it off. This needs to go deeper. I think I pulled some more of the soil out of here to get this farther down in there, because I don't want those stems sticking up. I don't want to be able to see. Oh, that's part of that one, yeah. I don't want to be able to see these stems. I want them buried way deep down in there, like so. And I don't even care if I bury these pups a little bit because they will find their way back out. You know, even if I get some soil on them. And this will look a little bit messy because I'm getting dirt everywhere. But when I water this in a few days, I'll rinse all this off. I can, for now, just blow some of it out of there. Okay. All that in there. So I've got one more large plant. And where do we want to put it? And what it is this lace aloe. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. So there's a lot of dead down inside that I want to get out. So this is like the mother plant here, and then it's got all these little pups. So the dead leaves that are in the middle are the bottom leaves off the mother plant. I could pull all these pups off of here, but I don't want to do that. I like how full it looks. So I just want to try and get some of this out of there. And this plant was over in a pot, and the only thing that was left in that pot with it was that big clump of sticks on fire, Euphorbia tiricale, I think it is, I believe. So we're going to trim these little roots off because we don't need those. So I just pulled this out, and I'll redo that whole pot. But how about right there? We can move all this, because I'm basically just going to be sitting this one right in the soil. So what if we just move some of this and just stuff it right there? Yeah, we like that. Okay. And that will be really happy here. Put that in there. Okay. So now, for all my little ones, let's start with, oh, you know what? I had this too. I wanted to put this back, and I forgot about it. So why don't we, I think this is an agavoides. I think this is Echeveria agavoides. It feels like it. I want these dead leaves out of there. So again, these dead leaves are in between the mother plant and the pups around the outside. And it's hard to get them out. But luckily, I watered it, so it's nice and plump and tough. You know, it's not, the leaves aren't just falling off of it, which, you know, if they're not getting enough water and they're stressed, the leaves will come off pretty easy. You don't want that. So you got to watch them, which I don't. I'm terrible with neglect, which is why I like cactus and succulents so much, because they can handle a fair amount of neglect. Some of them actually thrive on it. Okay. I just, one thing I was doing while I was in the house, sort of napping, is watching Laura Eubanks. She just did a 10-day, I don't know how many videos she made, maybe 5 or 6 videos of 10 days in, I believe, Encinitas, where they did this huge installation. And the only thing, and it could just be a privacy thing. I mean, you don't know who the clients are. She never, most of the time, doesn't say who they are, unless they're one that's like, okay, I don't mind being on camera. Most people, she just refers to them as the client, but she never tells what the actual budget is. But this time she did say that they spent thousands and thousands of dollars on tapestry plants, which are the little soft ones like this. I would love to know what the whole budget is. How about right here? Yeah, let's get some of this dirt off here so it's not such a big chunk, because I want to leave as much of the roots on here as possible, which means I'm basically going to just clear a little spot right here and just set. Ooh, I got a spot where some of that dirt can go in the back. But this bright green I thought would be nice against the Fred Ives and this mauve-ish looking color on this poor little aloe distans. So that'll fill that in. Gotta be careful. I keep stabbing myself because I just basically stick my hand wherever without really looking, instead of scoping out the territory, seeing where the danger is, and then not sticking my hand there. Okay. So hopefully got the roots covered up enough under here and that. And I will be sure to try and water these probably at least twice a week. You know, once I know they're established a little bit. I think this little thing I think that's the Echeveria elegans. I think that was Mexican snowball. So I'm going to keep that because I can use that somewhere. But for now, okay, I have this little clump. I don't know what this is. Is that an aeonium? It looks like it might be aeonium. But it's pretty, and it's a nice bright green. So when I pulled it out of the bowl, it was tucked all the way up under this blue elf. So it was in the shade. But it wasn't getting much water because I hadn't been watering anything. And so it's just struggling. But do you think I can stick it back in there without stabbing myself? Can I dig it? Ow! No, I cannot. God. Okay, let's build a little spot and just, you know what, I want to spray it because I don't see any mealy bugs, but it kind of looks like it might. It has that look of something that's been infested. So I just want to tuck it in there and scoop some dirt around it and see if it'll root itself back in here. All nice and hidden. And it'll be protected because it'll be kind of covered. I'll just leave it down in there. Okay, good. So I think across here the ghosties will do good. And they're nice and bright against that red. We're going to get all these leaves off of here. But this time, let's use our little tool so we can get those down a little bit deeper. And I cut like 4 of them out of the garden. And so I should have plenty more to fill in because there's so many of these ghosties just take over. Ow! Oof. These points are so sharp and it doesn't give. This thing is so thick. Yeah, when I first bought these, I bought it when I finally found them because I couldn't find these anywhere up here. And they were, I think it was like $8. Get down in there, go. For a little planter cup that had like 3 or 4 scraggly, overgrown, really leggy ones. Okay, I had to pause you there for a second because my silly husband is back in the background on his iPad playing really loud, some very inappropriate video that came out really loud. At first I thought, oh, that's just a loud video. What's he doing? He knows I'm filming. And then I realized what he was listening to. He's over there giggling, and so I had to wait for him to turn around because he was waiting for me to notice. But I'll have to edit that out. This is a family channel. He's funny. Okay. Okay, so we got 4 little ghosties. So they'll fill in and they'll actually grow over the edge of the pot. They will get really leggy. And, you know, for a little bit that's okay. I won't mind that. Okay, this one, I forgot that I had, because I was going to put it in the other one, but, well, I got it all wet, but it's a nice powdery, fat little one, so we're going to stick that right here. Or, you know what? Can we get it in there? Let's get it right in there. I need this to make a nice deep impression here. I don't mind if it sticks up a little bit, so it's going to get a little bit of sun. But you know what? Here I'm seeing some roots. Let's drop a little soil down there. Okay. Ooh, yeah. As I water this a few times, it'll settle that dirt, because right now a lot of this stuff is just sitting kind of, it's not really packed in good. Okay, yeah, that'll protect that little thing back in there. Okay, what else was in here? Anything else? I got all these little bits of cotyledon. So what do I want to fill this out with? This is probably going to die, but I'm going to take this little tiny painted echeveria. I just cut the end off. And I'm going to stick it. Where am I going to stick it? I'm going to stick it right in there. Let's see if it grows. Okay. I think I need to... Oh, here. We got a little pearl. Von Nuremberg, which I couldn't think of before. And I do notice they get mealybugs. I didn't see any on this one, but I sprayed it anyway. I'd like to get some purple in here. So you know what I'm going to go do? I know I have a couple of large ones. I'll be right back. I'm going to go see if I can scavenge some. Okay, so I did find this pretty little Aeonium sunburst, which has mealybugs. So let's spray it. And I'm going to have to really keep an eye on this pot and make sure that I probably spray a lot of these plants a couple more times, just to make sure. Okay, I'm going to stick this one over here. These Aeonium sunburst, which does not want to go down in the soil, can get really, really large. I mean, absolutely massive. But in here, since I cut the roots off, it's going to take a while. Okay, I did find another little pearl. It's pretty stressed. It's in a pot that I was going to completely redo anyway. So let's clean off all that soil. Let's give her a squirt of alcohol. Let's drip out. And let's put it... Get this leaf off of here. Come here. Let's put it right over in here. But I'm going to need to dig, because I'm going to leave the roots on this one. So I really need to dig down in there. And those roots tucked under. There we go. So this can put a little purple next to the green. What is that? I want it completely filled with stuff. So here is that an agavoides? It kind of feels like another Echeveria agavoides. It's tough. It's got some dead blooms on it from last year probably. And it's got some mealybugs. So we're going to spray it. And the mealybugs, if you don't get after them, they'll kill the plant completely. What happens is they get down under the edges of the leaves, and the leaves just start to die off because the mealybugs are in there taking all the, nourishment, nutrition, whatever. I'm going to plant this as a cutting. It's got a couple little roots in there, but I want to get it out. I want to get it under in here, back in here. All the dirt off of that leaf, tuck it up, hide that under there. And then this is, I don't know, what is this one? Not sure. What is that one? Okay, It's funny because I had that. Somebody made a comment on here about the clover in a couple videos back, where, I'm really surprised somebody that has a gardening channel doesn't know the difference between blah, 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 whatever. I never said I was a plant expert. I just do this because it's a hobby. I like the plants, and I learn a lot from the people who watch my videos who will tell me, that's this kind of a plant, or that's that, not being rude. Like, I thought that was kind of rude how she said that. A little snarky, but whatever. Yeah, I never said I was an expert. I just like to play, experiment, see what works here. There's a couple of plants I've had here that I don't plant anymore because they will not make it through the winter here. And I could, I could do the same plants and then bring them in, but I don't want to have to do that. I want plants that are going to be able to survive here without me having to think about moving them or putting them somewhere else or whatever, in the wintertime. Or I don't mind so much covering stuff up in the summertime because I know even down in Southern California it gets hot and some of these plants will really suffer. So that's not just here. But in the wintertime, I'm not going to be bringing plants in the house. I mean, I shouldn't say that because I do bring plants in the house, but not that many. I'm not going to bring a whole, is there a leaf under there? What are you sticking on? I'm not going to bring in a whole, shelf full or bowl full or whatever. I bring in a few specific, expensive specimen type plants, whatever. I'll bring those in. But all the stuff in the bowls, I don't want to worry about it. So I want to get stuff. Oh, you know what I need? I need some more of that fire. Okay, so here, look at this. Looks nice, huh? Nice, healthy little plant. Little baby. But look at the stem. It's just completely rotted. If I cut that off, let's just look at how it's trying to turn my arm backwards. Yeah, it's rotting right at that stem. So I'm going to cut all that off. And then that's much lighter, looks normal. But the plant is still alive. They are just super tough. There's so much pumice in here that sometimes trying to stick a plant right down in the soil, it's like hitting a rock and it won't go anywhere. All right, I'm going to go cut some more of that sedum Fire California. Somebody told me which variety it was. I don't keep the tag, so, when you've got 5 different varieties of the same kind of sedum, it's hard to remember the names. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got a whole bunch of these, so I'm going to knock some of the leaves off so I have a stem. And I didn't cut them as long this time. And I'm going to spray all of these because these seem to really like to get mealybugs. And I'm going to just stick them in here. Ooh. Let's see. Here. So the plant that I'm pulling these off of is way overgrown in an area that I don't particularly want it that overgrown. It's over by my water and my big flower pot. And so it needs to be cut back anyway, so perfect. And I've probably said this before, but I remember a time when I was putting the garden in and everything was so sparse and, I had all these little plants. And what did I do? Oh, here we go. And I couldn't wait until everything was growing so much that I had to start pulling stuff out and thinning things out and, whipping it into shape. And now I'm to that point, and it just seems like overnight, but this will be is this the 3rd year for the first section that I did? July. I started it in July. I believe 3 years ago I did this first section that you can't see, but it's over to my... Actually, you can see a little bit. I did that first section. Yeah, I think it's been like 3 years now. Okay, I wonder if I can not pull quite so many off of this one. Spray it good. Got to get all these little joints. The mealybugs get into these little joints. Because this one I kind of want to stick. Let me see if I can stand this one. Oh, oops. This one, the leaves do come off of it so easily. You barely touch it, and you can just hear them snap off. Unfortunately, but some plants are just really sensitive. But I mean, they just, you can hear that. Sometimes you're just touching it and they fall off, sadly. So this one, I can't just grab it by the top and then stuff it in there. Because I'll just end up breaking all the leaves off of it. But I want this little area clumpy. Okay, this one I'm just kind of going to sit there. Hopefully is it all the way down touching? As long as it's touching the soil, the roots, oops, I didn't spray that. The roots will get into that soil. They'll find their way down. Now, I could take all of these and start them, but I have so many trays with, just dozens and dozens of little pups that I just don't even bother anymore. Okay, so let's see. What are you eating over there? So all the little fire. Okay, so let's go around. All right, how about if we tuck in a couple of these little sempervivum. Just clean off all the dead leaves, which makes them a little smaller, so then I have even more room. And move some of the soil. We're just kind of set them right here in the soil. Push that around. They will find their way here. So these were called also hens and chicks. Hens with chicks, hens and chicks. Chick Charms is, I believe, a company that sells these little sempervivums. I order them from Mountain Crest Gardens, and I usually order like $100 worth, and I just get a ton of them. And they have a bag. They didn't have it last time. I didn't find it on the website, of a half-pound bag of cuttings. And so what they do is they just go and they just cut it right off. So there's no roots at all. So you just get a bag of all these little cuttings, and then what I do with them is, see the little pups coming out of here? This is what they do. They just send all these little pups out. I just set them flat. Where am I pointing? Can you see that little bowl down there? There. I just set them flat on the surface of the soil, and they grow. I don't even worry about them. And after, so I'll fill the bowl or whatever I'm putting them in up with plants, and then in about 2 weeks, I'll go and check, which, I just kind of wiggle them a little, and I can tell that they're rooted in. I want a red one there. Yeah, this little one. And you can tell they're already rooted, because they won't just easily pull out. And then they'll fill in. Now, these look so sad because they've been sitting over on a table in the full sun and have not been getting watered. So they're going dormant. So I thought, you know what? Okay, do you hear that? That's the blue jay. And he's sitting on top of, where are you? You're on that mogu pine. Right there. He's sitting right there, and the cat is right there. And so that's why he's screeching. And I'm not sure, because I can't find anywhere, but I think there's a nest in that big mogu pine, because I see the birds go in there all the time, and then I hear all this high-pitched screeching, which is, what you hear a lot of the babies, the sound the babies make, when the parents come to feed them. So I'm just going to cut the roots off of this one and then just sort of sit it right there. And just to fill that little hole in. I should fill this stuff in tighter, because what's going to happen is these are going to shrink a little bit. these cuttings. A lot of them are going to shrink a little bit, and so it's not going to be as full as I want it. But excuse me, goodness gracious. But that's okay. That's how long the roots are. Cut those off. Frog in my throat. Dave doesn't get that when I say that. If I'm like trying to clear my throat, because I can feel, bleh. I'm not sick, it's just allergies, and you get all that crap in there. And I'm like, I just got a frog in my throat. He's never heard that. I'm like, that's an old sign. I don't know where people started saying that. Okay, this looks like it was a plug at one time. I think it came like this in a little tiny pot, and it's just never really come out. So I'm going to try and dig a deep little hole right here and get all these little babies, which will hang over the edge, and just chuck it in there. Oops. Okay, one fell off. But that's okay, because I can just take it. It's got its own little root. Look at that. It's got a little root. I'll just stick it over under this little aloe. Throw a little dirt in there over that root. Blow it off, and it can stay right there. Okay. And it'll survive, or it won't. Okay, I think that's good for that one. I'm going to go put it in its little thing over there, and then I'll show you how it looks. Okay, let's go over here. So now it is 5 o'clock, and these guys are getting in the shade, which will be nice, because in another month, 5 o'clock is going to be the hottest part of the day. But so now this is fully in the shade. So here's the first one, and I think I could probably tuck a couple more little things in there. I have hanging out of the side of this, all this Replanting. Those are jelly beans. I could cut those and tuck those in all these little holes if I want to. But yeah, that looks so much better. And I put a lot more plants in it this time than I did last time, so it's a lot fluffier. So they're not exactly symmetrical, but they're gonna be a lot happier. Look how much lower that blue elf is, because I cut the roots off, than this one, which I did not cut the roots off as much. I trimmed them, but that one wasn't as tall. This one was really tall. And then I set it so that Echeveria Sahara is in the back, so it'll be a little bit more shaded. And then I will throw shade screen on these during the day. Oh, my bowl is a little crooked here. Ugh. Not better. It's okay. Yeah, I like that. So those Fred Ives, they can take the sun. I have a bunch of them sticking out of there. And I have a bunch of them in the garden over there. So they get a lot of sun. This one will get more. So I will make sure to keep this covered so these plants will acclimate. And like I said, you really probably shouldn't do this when it's, like right now it says it's 92 degrees out here. But they're in the shade, so they'll be okay. And I'll give it, a week before I water it. It's like a freeway out here. Have I said that before? I know I have. You know what? And I had an idea. Look at this, just bloomed again. Look at the mess. See, I have the starlings, and they live in here. I wonder if they're gone. The babies may be gone now. But they bring in all their nesting material, and they just drop it everywhere. And then at one point, I don't know if it's blackberries. They're eating something. I think it's blackberries, because look, you can see seeds. And their droppings are purple. Oh, and it just stains everything, and it just gets everywhere. So now I can clean this up, and I think those birds are gone. And I just cleaned my little gecko like 4 days ago look at a spider web. We have been busy. Okay, so I was over here, and here's where I was cutting that sedum. Is it Firestorm? And you can't even tell I cut a bunch off of it, but I cut a ton of it off. I cut like, 8 or 10 heads off of that? And it'll keep growing. I see one fell down. Yeah, fell down in there, rooted itself, but look how green it is compared to these because it doesn't get any sunlight. I'm going to add a bunch of plants to these. I'm not going to redo the whole thing, but I am going to fill in these gaps with probably some ghosties and some other stuff. Fill that in. The string of tears has just rooted itself right into the ground here. It grew right over the pot and it's all rooted. Oh, and I see it's flowering. Starting to flower. That's funny. I was over here earlier. What was I looking at? And I was thinking to myself, Self, you can take that plant and put it in this other pot. Oh, and you know what else I was thinking too? So over here, this is a mess. It's a mess. I'm just going to put pots out here. Now, Dave doesn't want me to plant anything into the ground. He thinks once I spray, kill all the weeds, kill all the roses, and that giant grapevine. We're going to mound some dirt, put top dressing, put some boulders out here, and I'm just going to leave everything in pots. But that Dark Night, I love this Opuntia Dark Night. I can put that in that big, huge terracotta pot that the attenuated ray of light is in, because I think I'm gonna bring her out and put her in that pot on the porch, and that'll be perfect for this. It'll be big enough it can stay in there for a while, and then I won't have to trim it. But it's been in that nursery pot for the last year. So, yeah, I was thinking that, but there was something else. I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? Where did I see a plant that needs to go in a pot? I'm looking around and I don't see anything. Was it on the porch? I don't see anything up here. I need to deal with that hot mess. My penis cactus is doing really good though. Look at that arm, it's really growing. This piece here. Hopefully this one will put off a new arm this year. It didn't do anything last year. Okay, I can't figure out what I was looking at, but there was something. Maybe it was in the back. Maybe I saw something in the back. But anyway, so I'm pretty much done. That's it for this video. So I'm looking at, actually, these rainbow cactus. They've all bloomed, and look how fat the bottom of the bloom is. These may be producing seeds. So I'm going to watch these. I would love to get a bunch of seeds off of these and then start, see if I can't start some of those from seed. But I did steal a few plants out of there. And I stole a couple out of here because I got to redo these anyway. And I'm going to take that out and put it in that big terracotta pot, I think, or that aloe vera pot I have sitting over here. Pretty flowers. Oh, look at the begonias are really starting to open. Is that gorgeous? Look at that. Oh. And then I got the yellow ones starting to open up over here. I want to get, let me shade it so I can't get it to really show the color in there. Anyway, it's really pretty. It's really pretty. Yeah, I'm going to put that Navajo Princess in this aloe vera pot. I think it'll look really nice in there. And then I can move it around. So, okay, yeah, that's it. I got a lot of work to do out here. So I'll keep bringing you along as I'm getting these little areas ship shape a little bit at a time. Nothing in there that I don't know what I was thinking. There's a plant around here somewhere that needs a pot, and I was an idea when I was sitting in the house. I'm like, oh, I can do that. Now it's gone. It's gone. But anyway, so if you're still watching, thank you. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And I will see you next time. I'll leave you with these. Aren't they cute?